Hey everybody, welcome back to another news roundup. Hope you guys been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. Pretty light week this week in terms of news. 4th of July weekend, people are out and about. I, for some reason, was thinking that something would be announced this week, but no, just pretty light week. Got some little news bits here and there, but we're just gonna get into it. So cut this intro and let's just dive right on in. The first thing we're going to discuss is revolving around Inside Out 2. It's been doing very, very well for Disney. In fact, after just 3 weeks being in theaters, Inside Out 2 has become the first film this year to gross $1 billion. So it's become the first $1 billion film precisely as of this writing or this recording. It's reached 1.015 billion to be exact. That was written a few days ago, so it's gotten a little higher probably since then. But this makes it the highest grossing film so far of the year, and according to some stuff that I read, it's the fastest selling animated film of all time. So people are eating up Inside Out. People are really eating it up, and it's really good to see a film doing as well as it's doing. And it's usually the case that each year a film garners more attention than others. Last year it was Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Super Mario. And this year it looks like it's Inside Out 2 that's garnishing all the attention. Especially this year, though, it's very good to see something doing as well as it is, because how this year's been shaping up so far. This year's definitely needed something like this. Because also that same weekend, or just this past weekend, was it? Yeah, this past weekend, right? I think it was. Yeah, it was. Horizon, the American Saga Kevin Costner thing, that just came and flopped as well, which adds another to the long list of failures from this year. So I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's beginning to look a little promising for the summer. Bad Boys ended up doing well. Quiet Place is off to a decent start. I have my trepidations if that's going to turn a profit or not, but there seems to be good prospects for Deadpool ahead. I'm getting a little worried because I've been hearing numbers regarding its budget. Some saying like 300 million, which, Jesus, if that's the case, they're just pitting that film to make $1 billion. Like, it has to make $1 billion in order to break even. Just, yeah, I don't know. But there are things up on the horizon that potentially will bring the summer up a little bit, but there's still a lot of question marks. Still a lot of things that, will more than likely not do as well. But great for Inside Out, great for Disney. It's great to see some genuine gold coming out of this year so far. So it's all good news, but it's also just to further illustrate that this is just a isolated incident and not a example of 2024, because it's been a pretty down year for film. So yeah, so good for Disney, but I wouldn't say good for the year in general. Kind of a little boost, but not a real defining moment in the year, if you ask me. So, all right, moving on from that, let's talk about Wicked, the adaptation coming out later this year. It's moved its release date to November 22nd. It's moved up a week in order to get away from competition from Moana 2, because they were also slated to come out I think it was November 27th. So they decided to move away from that date, and they're now taking up the November 22nd spot, November 22nd spot. And now they're having to compete with Gladiator 2. So yeah, and keep in mind, Wicked is a $300 million investment. The first one is costing up to 145 million, and the second one supposedly is costing up to 165 million, because both these films were shot back to back. So that Pacific Weekend, because the only reason I'm bringing this up is because of this. That Pacific Weekend is going to be a dark one, because I'm expecting this to be sort of dead on arrival for Wicked, because I really don't know who's going to give a shit to watch this. And we all know Gladiator 2 is going to be dead on arrival. That costing close to $300 million, that's going to just eat shit, just to be blunt about it. I'm pretty sure between the two, Wicked may have the advantage, because I just really don't know who's clamoring to watch Gladiator 2. And probably going to be like a 3-hour thing. So, between the two, I think Wicked probably has the advantage. But that weekend's not looking great. That's looking to be rather sour, if you ask me. So we'll see what happens, but I have my doubts. I have really big doubts, as a matter of fact. Speaking of Ridley Scott, let's get into an interview that he had with Vanity Fair. He spoke out regarding some regrets, specifically in not developing follow-ups to two respected franchises that he's been at the helm of. That is Blade Runner and Alien. Now, the reasoning for why he never developed sequels to Alien and Blade Runner is because he says at one point in the interview is because he had no interest in developing sequels. And then at some point he also states that no one asked him to. James Cameron would eventually go on to develop a sequel, Aliens, which was released in 1986, and Denis Villeneuve would go on to develop Blade Runner 2049, which was released in 2017. So, does he not understand that saying no means that no one's going to ask you about it again? I mean, did he expect the studio just to keep crawling back to him or something? Like, why is he surprised that no one asked him after he said no? Like, you told them no. You're not interested. You're not interested in making it. So of course the studio is gonna, because we know the studio came and asked him regarding Alien, so no one's gonna buy that. Okay, of course they came to you about doing a sequel to Alien. You said no, and then you moved on. With Blade Runner, it wasn't a hit. People forget that Blade Runner has it's become a cult type film. I mean, people over time have started to learn how to appreciate it for what it is. But when it initially came out, it wasn't a hit. People didn't really like it. So, of course, you didn't hear about anything regarding a sequel to Blade Runner because it didn't sell well. So, it's like I said, it's only with time that film started to resonate. And even then, I'm pretty sure over the years he was approached about a sequel to Blade Runner sometime in his career, and I'm pretty sure he said no again. So, like, just because you made the originals doesn't give you ownership of the property. It's your art, but it's not your product, okay? And it's just, Ridley, he's always had like this giant ego on him. He's always been talking shit and acting like he's above things. It's just usual Ridley. Ridley. And I mean, you want to talk about sequels you want to do? I mean, you've got Gladiator 2, and that was completely mismanaged. You're blowing through cash and collecting a massive budget, which is doomed to fail. So in a way, you got your wish. You got to do a sequel to one of your movies. You're just not proving to anyone that you're the guy for the job. So, yeah. And in hindsight, I am very happy that he did not do sequels, because we got Aliens, which I wasn't crazy about, but I like it enough. And then we got Blade Runner 2049, which is, in my opinion, just stands right with the original. So yeah, so he's a little full of himself. I mean, you can have regrets, but the reasoning behind it is just like, come on, dude. You told them no. What did you expect them to do? So, yeah. So that's just silly. Speaking of ego, let's talk about Kevin Bacon. He had an interview recently. He's having quite an active weekend. He's starring in two films, one of which being Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, which is on Netflix, and Maxine. So he has some stuff going on. He had an interview where he told a story about how he hired a makeup artist to disguise himself in public to test another lifestyle out, aka a normal lifestyle. And he didn't like being a normal living person, citing that the quote unquote struggles of waiting in line and not getting compliments from strangers and relying upon yourself and not others. Yeah. So there are people who are defending this. They're saying that this is a joke, and from what I've read, apparently he's told this story before, and people consider it a joke, or like he's presenting it as a joke. Um, I don't know about you guys, but I don't see the humor in talking down to normal people, whether by choice or legitimately struggling. Because there's people out there who just choose to be normal living people. They don't want to have more money and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's just, I never understood why that's funny. I never understood why it's funny to poke that, hey, like, doesn't it suck, to be in that position? It's like being super condescending. It's just like, fuck off, and fuck off to him with saying those remarks, because it's like, I mean, he's a privileged guy who got lucky in his position. Because trust me, in that business, it's all about luck. So I mean, he's very privileged in the fact that he's, being able to have a platform and do all the things that he does. And he believes that normal living all of a sudden sucks, just because of what exactly? Just because you wait in line and shit like that? Yeah, it's called an ego, bro. That's what is going on here. Thinking he could just like get first in line and all this shit. It's like whatever. And look, some of us actually choose to live those quote unquote shitty lives to stay away from your shitty lifestyle. Or like what this generation does, I just don't understand it. They generate all this wealth without understanding what life requires of you first, which is reasonable fucking means: having a regular vehicle, having a solid credit score, savings, health insurance. Like, these are all things that you need. You don't need more money. You can have more money once you have settled, once you have become established. And becoming established does not mean having all the money in the world. That doesn't mean anything, okay? Especially when you understand, once you understand that you need insurance and all these other things, trust me, when you have all this money collected and all this other stuff, it's going to make it more difficult for you to get insurance. It's going to be more difficult for you to justify the cost of things or justify the wealth that you have accumulated. Like, yeah, like, I don't want that life. I don't want to deal with more money. I don't want to deal with a larger ego, and I certainly don't want more attention on me. Like, there's nothing like wrong about that. Okay? And I think that in talking like that to people, you're presenting your insecurities to us, frankly. And we're not as insecure as you. Okay? We're actually very okay with being alone. We don't need people to tell us that they love us, okay? So, I mean, it's very telling for you to say our lives suck when your life, in my view, is worse. So, because yeah, I'm not this little fucking. I mean, I'm insecure. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm confident and all that, but like, yeah, I'd rather be who I am today. Rather be who I am today than be a shithead who has a ton of money and more than likely will not know how to use it. So, because of how mentalities are today. So, yeah, I'd rather be who I am, not be a sellout. Because that's who he is. He's a sellout. Because that's the whole point of his industry, is to be a sellout. So some of us still have our dignity, our pride. Some of us are still also just regular fucking people. You are a sheep. You are a sellout. Enough more to say than that. So. All right, we have one trailer to discuss for today, and I'm bringing this up for a reason, because I just can care less about the film, but just want to bring it up just for something notable about it. The film is called Afraid, and it stars John Cho and Catherine Watterson, and it's a Blumhouse film, being written and directed by Chris Witz. He's mostly known as a screenwriter, but he's directed a few things here and there, most notably, or most recently, I must say, a film called Operation Finale. So it's an AI piece. It's a film, about an AI, like a kind of a home invasion type scenario. If it looks like Megan and if it acts like Megan to some extent, trust me, you're not wrong, because it clearly is trying to cash in on Megan and is from the actual producers of Megan. So it's, yeah. And they're trying to use the AI gimmick to give the film more dimensions, but frankly, it's just a stereotype in and of itself now. I mean, this genre of AI stuff, it's just redundant and boring, especially how they explore it. So in this scenario anyway, it's just so really flat. But I can tell you this because I'm not under any contract, and I'm going to say that again because I just want to say it again. I'm not under any contract. I didn't sign anything. I didn't accept any invites, nothing. So I can say this because I am not under any contract. Okay? This film has gone through a couple of test screenings in the past few months. This year alone, it's gone through multiple test screenings these past few months, and I've kept getting emails from through the GoFobo site where they sometimes will like send you like little invites here and there, or suggest like, hey, like there's a study, you want to come and participate, blah blah blah. Over this year, I have been getting the same fucking invite to the same goddamn screening. So, and it's on different dates. So it's not like they just like were sending me like constantly. No, they've been testing this thing for months at separate times. One time, I forget when, but it was like early on. And then I think not that long ago, like a month ago, did they send me another email. And, well, this is just now being unveiled, and it has a release date for August 30th of this year. Yeah, they're not happy with this. And if the test screenings are an indication, yeah, that it's in trouble. So, but I don't know. Maybe it might turn out great. Maybe it might turn out okay. Who knows? I frankly just don't care based on what I saw. So, yeah, and just so I could say it again, because I'm trying to be careful here. I am not under any contract. I have not signed anything. It's also emails being sent out through a public website, so it's not confidential or anything like that. So please, just again, just so I don't get in trouble, just so you understand. Anybody can access GoFobo. Anybody can do anything like that. So it's not a private invitation. So just so you know. But yeah, it being Blumhouse, it's likely to have a smaller budget attached to it. So it may very well turn a profit. Usually Blumhouse films do, because they are very smart when it comes to how they handle their productions. But all the stuff I have told you doesn't signal confidence. And judging from the trailer, I can see why. It just doesn't really look like much. So, actually, I lied. There is one more trailer that we have to discuss. I'm actually recording this a few days after I recorded the other news roundup, so excuse me if my voice sounds a little different. Just went to the beach yesterday, but yeah, I was gonna plug this in for the next news roundup, but honestly, I'll just do it right here. So, So let's talk about the F1 trailer, just because that came out yesterday. Yesterday being, I think, the 6th or 7th. Yeah, I think, for whatever day it was. But yeah, the F1 trailer came out. We talked about the F1 film a little bit ago because of its supposedly massive budget, which is reportedly $300 million. Supposedly the director disputed it, saying that that's not legit, but we'll see. They have a trailer out starring Brad Pitt, Javier Bardem, Carrie Condon, being directed by Joseph Kosinski, who brought us Top Gun Maverick, and more notably being written by Aaron Kruger, who was behind the Michael Bay Transformer films. So this has a release date for June 27th, 2025, being distributed by Warner Brothers, but was financed through Apple TV Plus or Apple Original Films. So that's probably where we'll see the budget's probably going to be a little bit higher, just because they, handed it to another studio for distribution. So, but yeah, so the trailer is out, and well, outside of knowing that it's real footage, that they're attempting to, do real racing. If I didn't know that information, I would think that it's a simulation of real racing and not real racing. Because I went and compared actual racing footage to this, and it's just too polished and too smooth, honestly, which I think really takes away the realism from what's being achieved. Because I just don't buy that it's real. I mean, I know it's real, but I just don't buy that it's real. I just don't buy what I'm just literally seeing in the frame, in how, I don't know if it's just the angle or if it's just the smoothness of the shot by the grading of the shots, the color grading. I don't know what it is. I just don't buy that it's real. I also don't literally buy that it's all real. Clearly I think there's VFX involved in some capacity, because there's some shots where like the car is like spinning out of control or in this and that. I'm pretty sure that that's not real, because they're filming during the Grand Prix. It's like, I don't think that they would allow casualties or allow stuff like that to take place on the racing course, but I don't know. But generally speaking, it looks okay. It's basically a more serious take on Gran Turismo from the outside looking in, or promotion for the next game, honestly. And I wasn't crazy about the Gran Turismo film at all, really. So, yeah, I could care less about it. It'll be more interesting to see if it performs well, because of the reports of it having a massive budget attached to it. So, that's left to be seen. But from what I can tell, it looks just not really that interested. I mean, clearly it has the mark of the Top Gun Maverick director, just by the types of shots that are trying to be achieved. It seems like they're kind of replicating that of Top Gun Maverick, especially the driver's seats. It just kind of reminds me of that, of Top Gun Maverick. But yeah, it looks okay. Not horrible, not amazing, just okay. So, yeah, it's not much to really talk about outside of just, hey, they filmed during the Grand Prix, which is kind of left to speculation on as to how much is actually real and how much is, just VFX. So, but yeah, looks okay. That's all I'll say about that. So yeah, so those are all the things this week for the news roundup. Excuse me if I sound a little congested. I just came back from the beach, so I just got a ton of water up my nose. I just got to blow out my nose. So sorry, that probably just gave you a bad image. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on all these things regarding Ridley Scott whining, Kevin Bacon being a little bitch, Wicked, Inside Out 2, and the trailer to Afraid. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.